So hi everyone, my name is Stephen. I am the Regional Sales Manager for Des Kelly Interiors, and I'm very excited to be here with Lorraine Keane to chat about the launch of our Cool Harmony Mattress. Yes. So thanks so much for chatting with us today. Okay, so just a couple of questions. We're going to go with a little Q&A, okay? So first things first, so what made you start looking for a new mattress?
To be perfectly honest, I wasn't looking for a new mattress, I had bought a mattress maybe 4 or 5 years earlier, and I think you can get a little bit longer than that out of a mattress. But I actually attended the launch of the Long Mile Road store. It was the opening or refurb, and I went along to film a reel for my social channels because I have been a customer of Des Kelly Interiors for years. They've been around a long time.
Yeah.
And I do love interiors, and I've renovated 4 houses in my lifetime. So I just wanted to go out and see the new store.
Yeah.
And while I was out there, I was filming the furniture, the floors, the carpets, the runners, the rugs, obviously the beds, and then saw the mattress. And it said something to do with heat regulating mattress. And at the time, I had just developed a brand new perimenopause symptom, which was night sweats.
Yeah, of
course. And I just wasn't sleeping, Stephen, and I was, very frustrated. We all have busy lives, and when I saw this and saw the science behind it and the fact that the technology is there to help you to have a better night's sleep, I just thought maybe I need to try this mattress, because at that stage I would have tried anything. A few months later, I was out actually in one of the stores getting floors with Gerardo, and Greg was in the store, and we had a little chat, and he was talking to me about the fact that you had created this amazing heat regulating mattress, cooling mattress, and I told him the story of me a few months earlier, and then we started chatting, and I decided I would try it. And after a few weeks, I phoned Greg and went, this is a game changer. I'm actually sleeping, so much better. I'm not waking up 4 or 5 times a night, not having the severe night sweats anymore. And I just thought we need to be telling people about this. It's going to make a difference to people. So
amazing, brilliant. Okay, then what key qualities were you looking for in a mattress when you did go looking?
Always, anytime I've bought a mattress over the years, it would be the quality of, how it's made, preferably made in Ireland.
Yeah.
The brand, so it has to be a reputable brand, one that has been used time and time again. The kind of the technical stuff where you're talking about the springs and the pockets and the fabrics and natural, if at all possible.
Yeah.
So for me, it'd be about that. And also I like a medium mattress. Peter would prefer a firm one.
Okay.
But we've made that mistake before. And that mattress lasted for about 6 months because I was like, this is awful.
I can
it's way
imagine.
too firm.
Yes, absolutely.
So those kind of things. Back then, so the last time I bought a mattress before the Cool Harmony mattress was, there was no heat regulation.
Yeah.
There was none of that technology or science behind it. So that's what I would look for. And the fact that Des Kelly Interiors are around for a long time, and they're a family business, and they're Irish and a reputable family business. I trust them, so amazing. I would look for that.
Amazing, brilliant. Okay, next one. What made you come into Des Kelly Interiors in the first place?
I'm huge on interiors.
Okay.
I love interior design, and because I constantly do up rooms in the house, but I've renovated a number of houses in my lifetime, I would be the type of person that would kind of, on a Sunday, go around different showrooms and browse. It's kind of a hobby and a passion of mine.
Yeah.
And because Des Kelly Interiors have been around since the 60s, before my time, by the way, I would pop in to their stores, and they're always very helpful, and you just feel like you're in safe hands, and always very friendly and warm. That's why, I would have shopped with them over the years quite a lot for lots of things, for carpet, for floors, for furniture. One of my girls' bedrooms, I got her bedside lockers and mirrors, and so it's just one of those places that it's a really nice place to browse and to shop.
It really is a one-stop shop, though.
It is actually. That's what's great, and we're all time poor. So, when you do have that little pocket of time to do something like that, you want to try and get as much as you can
Absolutely.
you know, in the one place.
Especially when you have two girls, probably taking up most of that time for you as well.
Honestly, and yeah, you would think at this stage that it would be less work. I think it's just a whole new challenge.
Oh, I'm sure,
of
I'm sure, I'm
obstacles
sure.
and
Okay.
joys.
Amazing. Okay, so since switching to the Cool Harmony mattress, how has the quality of your sleep improved?
It's just a game changer, Stephen. Like, it has made a massive difference. We're all obsessed with sleep, and of course we are, because I think we spend probably a third of our lives in bed.
100%.
So, you know, why wouldn't you invest in a really good mattress? And I always have, to be honest, but never before did I have a situation where I was having night sweats, and it was something like that that was keeping me awake and interrupting my sleep. So it's just really, really important that you make sure that you're buying well. It's really nice to be buying Irish, but also for me, it's really important to buy something that is, you know, scientifically proven, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a minefield out there, you know? There's a lot of choice.
Yes.
And, you know, it is your hard-earned money. Nobody wants to waste their money. So, and as I say, it is an investment. So, you know, you want to buy well. You don't want to make a costly mistake.
Of course, absolutely. Okay, so then, kind of leading on from that then, what specific features of the Cool Harmony mattress made the biggest difference to your sleep?
Well, it is the cooling technology, you know, is the obvious one. Because when I'm asleep in bed and I feel like I'm getting kind of overheated, all I have to do is literally move position, and I don't even waken up anymore, you know.
Okay.
And that has made a massive difference for me, because with most women, because we tend to juggle too much and we're all busy, and I don't know about like every woman, but I have lists in my head, and if I wake up, I tend to go through all the lists, then it takes me ages to get back to sleep again. Then you wake up the next morning and you're irritable, and because you're tired and you're anxious, and it's just really hard to do what we do as women every day if you haven't had a good night's sleep. Whereas at least, you know, I know now that I'm going to bed and I'm not going to have a disturbed sleep. And if I do feel myself overheating, I literally just change position in the bed. The other great thing is, because of the pockets, what are they called? The little
Pocket spring system.
pocket spring system. Two reasons, so that is really good. One, when I get up in the middle of the night, I don't disturb Peter. So because of the whole balance thing, it's amazing, because his side of the bed doesn't move. And even better, in the morning, if he's up before me, I don't even hear him getting up in the mornings, you know. And that used to waken me up. So yeah, I'm just having a much better night's sleep. My night sweats are gone.
Amazing.
And yeah, I'm happier. Everyone's happier.
Everyone's
The whole
happier when you get a
family are
better night's sleep.
Because I'm happier.
Okay, brilliant. Then, leading on from that, what advice would you give to someone who is struggling with sleep discomfort?
Okay, so knowledge is key. Educate yourself. So find out all of the things that you can do for yourself. For somebody that's having, you know, hormonal changes, perimenopause or menopause, it's really important to look at the fibres. Natural fibres are always better. So your pajamas, your bed linen, you know, your mattress, all of that is hugely important. Like my pajamas are made with bamboo cotton because, again, you sweat less. My bed linen is organic cotton. Pillows, again, are the cooling gel as well, the natural latex. My mattress is the same. My pillowcase is silk.
Yeah.
Also, 'cause it's supposed to be good for your hair and your skin, anti-aging. But generally, for me, it's all about keeping my body temperature regulated so that I have a better night's sleep and that I'm not woken. So that's what I'd say to people: educate yourself, find out, like, try lots of different, you know, pajamas and things like that. And there's amazing Irish brands out there that are doing, you know, fantastic women's pajamas. Sinead Keary is an amazing young woman who just started a label a couple of years ago, and that's all she uses, bamboo cotton. So yeah, do your research and invest in a really good mattress that you know is going to work, because you'll have it for years. And we are all so busy, we all do way too much, and if you haven't had a good night's sleep, you know, it just makes things so much more difficult. So yeah, I mean, I actually went away recently. I was invited to a lovely party in London and was put up in a very fancy hotel overnight.
Oh, very nice.
and I didn't sleep a wink.
Oh, really?
And you would think in a nice
yeah.
five-star hotel
Yeah, of course.
that they would have decent mattresses, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they did. But because it didn't have the cooling technology in it, I was awake 3 or 4 times. I actually couldn't wait to get back to my own bed. And there I was being pampered in a 5-star hotel. So, I mean, that to me speaks volumes.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so lastly, what would you say to someone who is considering the Cool Harmony mattress but isn't sure if it's the right fit for them?
Just go for it. Like try it. You will not regret it. You know, it genuinely works. And I know from experience, and I've, tried other mattresses, really good mattresses my whole life. You know, as I say, being away a few weeks ago and lovely 5-star hotel and even still, the science is there, the technology is there. For that reason, it can't not work. So I would say, try it.
Take the leap.
Yeah, and invest in yourself.
Yeah.
You deserve it, you're worth it. We spend so much time in our beds. We need to get the best sleep that we can, for our current and future, health, mental health, as well as, physical well-being. So, yeah, invest in yourself. Don't, feel guilty about it. It's probably one of the best investments you'll ever make.
Amazing. Okay, well, look, thank you so much for taking time to answer those questions. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Stephen.
We are back with the wonderful Lorraine Keane, and we are going to do some staff Q&A this time. Okay, so some
Great.
questions sent in by the wonderful staff. Okay, so first things first. So when did you first notice your sleep pattern change?
Probably last summer, and I was on holidays and it was really hot. I was in France and I assumed that it was just because of the weather, and kind of just put up with it, and then came home and started to have interrupted sleep at home as well. And we were having an Irish summer, so it definitely wasn't anything to do with the weather. And I realised that it was probably just another symptom for me, a hormonal symptom for perimenopause.
Yeah.
And because I have been talking about hormone health and perimenopause and menopause for 10 years now, and I know all of the symptoms. Yeah, so I thought to myself, okay, this is just another thing. But it wasn't. It was something that I found really debilitating, because we all know how sleep is so important, and when you don't get any, it's very hard to operate as we do. We all do way too much, and we're all really busy, and we all work very hard. So yeah, it was that really was the thing that made me then look a bit deeper into how I could help myself, because it's all about education. Knowledge is key. So that's when I started doing a bit of research.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much. And then leading on from that then, how did those changes impact your personal and professional life?
Well, if you're not sleeping, it impacts everything.
Yeah.
It changes everything. And it's very difficult, both mentally and physically, to go about your day if you haven't had a good night's sleep, because it just obviously makes you tired and irritable and a little bit anxious. And I knew that with the job that I do, and even just in my family, I needed to find out and to educate myself, to find out more about how I could improve my sleep. And having been out to Des Kelly Interiors, just because I was there for the opening, I'm a huge interiors fan, and I've renovated quite a few homes, 4 houses in my time. So I was out there at the launch and saw the heat regulating mattress, which I know is something that is very good for athletes or gym bunnies, or if you're kind of a warm sleeper. But because I had suffered with night sweats for the first time, I said to Mary, who was working in the shop at the time, who was extremely helpful, if I'm going to go for a new mattress, is this something, do you think that might help me? And she explained the science behind it and the technology. She said, absolutely, that's what it's made for. So that's why I then decided to try it for myself, and it was an absolute game changer.
You're a trusted advocate for women navigating premenopause and menopause. So how can we as a society help break the stigma and taboo around menopause?
It's about talking. It's like what we're doing here tonight. It's like talking and sharing and not being embarrassed. I'm from a family of 7 kids, and it would take a lot to embarrass any of us. And for generations, like for all of our mothers and grandmothers before us, they were made feel ashamed and embarrassed about what is just another natural life stage in our journey, our hormonal journey as women. And that's why it's so important to talk, because if we talk, we get rid of the stigma. It's not a taboo subject anymore. And then we're also educating each other, and we're sharing and supporting each other. So I just wanted a situation where I didn't have to feel embarrassed or ashamed, because it's tough enough being a woman, but when you have to put up with all that stuff on top of it, something's got to give. It's like periods, like big deal. That's a word that for years women were afraid to say out loud. It's something that happens, and it's something that we need help and support for, not to be made feel like it's like a dirty little secret, don't talk about it. So that's why I decided to talk about it. It was really difficult at the time because nobody was talking about it 10 years ago, but it's probably the proudest thing I've ever done, and it's been the most amazing thing I ever did. And I'm constantly looking for new ways to improve and help us as women, our lives, to make our lives easier. And one of those things, which is hugely important, is sleep, because we spend a third of our lives in our beds. Another thing women, especially Irish women, are really bad at doing is looking after themselves. We feel guilty if we look after ourselves, yet we feel fine looking after everybody else. Don't feel guilty about investing in a mattress that will improve your life, because it's going to improve your sleep, and therefore you're happier and everybody is happier. So there's just lots of things that we need to change. We need to change the narrative. It's learned behaviour. We're just following our mothers and our grandmothers. Well, we can't. They know that they suffered unnecessarily in silence for years, and we don't need to. And actually, the support that I get now from, like, I have a brother and a dad and husband and gorgeous male friends, and the support that I get from the men in my life, and lots of my friends and women say the same thing to me, because men want to know how they can help, and before they kind of felt like they were being pushed away. I remember Peter was kind of relieved when I started talking about perimenopause and menopause, because he said to me, gosh, I'm just glad it's just not me. Yeah. I thought it was us, or was something I was doing. So it's really important. We all have sisters and mothers and aunties and wives and girlfriends and whatever, and friends. So yeah, talk, educate, support.
Fantastic, amazing. Okay, since switching to the Cool Harmony mattress, how has your experience been with it?
It's just been a game changer, for everybody. Peter's even happier because I'm less irritable. And he's loving it too. That's the thing, because I was thinking, gosh, I'm getting this for me. Yeah. Clearly I was still getting it.
Obviously, yeah.
What does they say? A happy wife's a happy life.
Happy life, yeah.
So, but yeah, it's just been amazing, because I don't have the severe hot sweats anymore. So the severe hot sweats are gone. When I do feel like I'm being woken up by, overheating, I literally just change position in the bed. The other thing is, because of the pocket springs, is that what they're called?
Yeah,
you need to do the science bit. So I know it works, but you have all the technical terms. Because of that, when Peter gets up in the morning to go to work, I don't even wake up anymore. Yeah. Because I'm not being bounced around because he's getting out of the bed. So just added bonus. So yeah, it's just really important to invest in something good, because it is a bit of a minefield out there. Yeah. And as we were saying earlier, you buy online, you've no idea what you're getting. It's really important to try before you buy. 100%. And Des Kelly Interiors are all over Dublin. The showrooms are amazing. You guys are amazing. The staff are so informed and really helpful and really kind. Mary had me lying on the bed, sideways, long ways, flat ways, just so that I would know for sure. I would hope so, before I chose, And it's an Irish family business. It's been around since 1960. It's a reputable brand, and everything, like the Cool Harmony mattress, is handcrafted, handmade in Ireland. Yes. And they're all really important things. So we need to support each other, and yeah, just listen, spread the word. Spread the word.
Absolutely.
And I have. And everybody that I've recommended it to has been really, really happy. And like that speaks volumes.
Oh, 100%. Amazing. Thank you so much for that. And lastly, just to finish off then, so how would you describe your experience overall with Des Kelly Interiors?
I think you know. You know what? It's just lovely to be able to walk in and try before you buy, but also feel like you're in safe hands. There's a reason why Des Kelly Interiors are all over Dublin, and I've been here since 1960, you know, and we all know now how important it is to buy Irish and support Irish, and it's an Irish family business. You know that when you're buying something that is going to last, you know, because it's a quality brand. And if I'm investing my hard-earned money in anything, I need to know that it's something that genuinely works. And I know firsthand that it genuinely works.
Absolutely, 100%, yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to answer the staff questions that we put forward. So, unless we've anything else, we want to open up to the floor if anyone has any questions for Lorraine.
Peter, honestly, like he is very down to earth and very relaxed and very easygoing. He wouldn't be as fussy as I am, but we did send back a mattress about 10 years ago that we bought, and it was because it suited him and it didn't suit me. I just wasn't sleeping, and I think we had it for about 3 to 6 months. So he's also quite more frugal than I am, so he wouldn't like to make any costly mistakes, and that was a costly mistake. So I think that's why it's really, really important that you try before you buy. But Peter loves it, and I mean, he's no gym bunny and no athlete, you take me saying that. But he did think that the cooling thing mightn't work for him, you know, because you think in an Irish climate, and I am a cold creature. Like, I go to bed with a hot water bottle most nights because I always have cold hands and feet. So I'd have the hot water bottle. It's like my comfort blanket at my feet. And he thought that he wouldn't like the kind of cooling thing. But actually, I prefer it to be known as more kind of heat regulation rather than cooling, because, you know, I know it's Cool Harmony. That's the name of the mattress. But actually, you're not getting into a cold bed. You know, you move around when you feel like you're overheating. And I think that's the difference. So I think that's a really important message to get across, that it's not like getting into an icy cold bed. You know, it's about getting into a really good quality mattress, knowing that, you know, all of the materials are there to assist you to have the best sleep that you can have. But if you overheat, you literally just change position, and like, I don't even wake up anymore. You know, when I used to, like, night sweats would wake me up and it'd take me ages to get back to sleep again. It doesn't happen anymore, so. Ethan, you know, when I came in here today and I saw this and I saw my bed over there, I was like, they're my 2 favourite colours. I love that blush kind of pink and any colour green, clearly. I love all colour greens. And yeah, I love interiors, so I do love kind of changing. I don't really follow trends, because even we were talking earlier about some of the furniture Greg was showing to me, and I was saying, like, I love wood. I have an old house, so dark wood really suits, whereas I know more of the muted and kind of earthy tones are really in now. And I love colour, whereas for a long time, beiges and creams and greys and taupes were the big thing, whereas I think there's enough grey in our climate, so it'd be my least favourite colour. So I love colour. So I always say to people, just go with what makes you happy, you know? Like, people would ask me even about styling wardrobes and stuff like that. And I always say, just, you know, whatever colour puts a smile on your face, put that, like, so look in your wardrobe, and if you've got loads of coral or red, clearly that's a colour that you like, you know, or oranges or those kind of colours. So, or autumnal colours, go for that in your colour scheme in your house, because it's nice to surround yourself with the things that kind of make you happy, you know, and cheer you up, especially in our weather. Thanks, Ethan. Even the fact that you're thinking about it is just so lovely, you know, because automatically she'll feel that love, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it's a really, like, I can't stress enough how difficult it is. I mean, we go through so many hormonal changes as women from puberty to postmenopause. Puberty is a really difficult time for women and men, for young men and young women, but particularly for women for the obvious reasons, because of periods and period pains and the anxiety that brings, and having to, what can I wear, what can I not wear, what if it comes unexpectedly, all of that stuff. So that's a worry that we need to go through. Like when you think of, my nephews and my nieces, and we've 3 that were doing their junior cert, 2 girls and a boy, and one of the girls had her period for the entire junior cert, practically, because of anxiety. And, her boy cousin was saying how bad he felt for her. Like that generation are amazing. They talk openly to each other about it, So I think talking about it and talking to your mum about it and saying to her, is there anything that I can do for you? Anything I can help you with? Like that is huge, to have that kind of support, and that she doesn't feel ashamed or embarrassed is hugely important as well. So yeah, you're so, I love the fact that you're even, talking about, helping her and what you can do. My poor mum, my goodness, 7 kids. And when I started talking about it, she said to me, I don't know why you're talking about that. I never had it. We all remember my mother's menopause. Oh, good Jesus Christ. Yeah. And then she came to one of my talks, and afterwards she said to me, oh, Laurie, I'm so sorry. Of course, and I just feel so bad. But we weren't allowed, it was kind of shut up and put up, So I think that's really important. Another thing my mom used to do is she used to say, I never took a nap. I had 7 of you, I never napped in my life. And it was like a badge of honor. She couldn't look after herself because that was a sin. Don't you dare. That's so spoilt and selfish. And I started doing that when I was working full time with 2 little ones. And then I realized the whole changing the narrative thing. I was like, I have to stop this. I would say to the girls, oh, if anybody rings or calls to the door, don't say I'm having a nap, Just say that I'll be back and I'll ring them later or whatever. And then I thought, no, I have to change this, because I was burning out and was afraid to admit it and say, actually, I work really hard, I'm really tired, I love myself, and therefore I deserve a nap, and I'm not going to hide that. So I started saying to the girls, if somebody calls on the phone or calls to the door, tell them I'm having a nap, I'll get back. And we need to do that for the next generation, so they don't feel like they can't mind themselves and then burn out, So it's all just trying to talk and share and support, as I said earlier. But changing the narrative is a huge thing, particularly in Ireland, because Irish mammies are not very good at, looking after themselves a lot of the time. We're getting better now. I'd say I'm wrecking Peter's head, because I am getting much more demanding. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, he's still there so far. Huge. Yeah, absolutely huge. In fairness, I have always invested in mattresses, but I haven't always put the time into it myself. So the one that we bought that Peter wanted firm and I didn't sleep, that was a disaster. I had serious back pain, and then I remember going to somebody with my back, and they said, your mattress is probably too hard. And I'm a small, slight person, and Peter's a big, tall fella. So, the firm mattress was fine for him, but actually it was giving me aches and pains. So I would say always try before you buy, as I said earlier. And yeah, invest in a really good mattress. It's hugely, hugely important. It's amazing because it just ticks all the boxes for me, because it's got that lovely kind of medium soft feel. It's, the materials are lovely because it's natural latex. It's got that pocket spring.
Yeah.
Technology. And then obviously the cooling gel and the airflow system. So it's just ticking all the boxes. And it's one of the best things you can invest your money in. We spend so much time in bed. So I would say to people, definitely do the research and get something that suits you, and don't feel bad about it.